Okay, let's talk a bit about the psychology of the game. What I'm going to go through here is sort of how I want your mind to be when you actually play, and sort of the psychology about it, how you should think about your teammates, how you should think about communication within the game, how you should control your emotions, and sort of how we want to strive towards self-improvement with everything that we do. Okay, so something that is very interesting that I actually recommend almost every single person that I coached for solo queue is to take away the feeling that your teammates are actually humans. This might sound really weird, but bear with me. Imagine for a second that when you play solo queue, you're the only human within that game. And everybody else, the 4 people on your team and the 5 people on the enemy team, are NPCs. They're bots. They're computer coded, right? How would that affect the way that you play the game? How would that affect the way you think about your teammates and rely on your teammates? How would that affect the way you lay your game plan, right? That's an interesting thought. And the reason why I came up with this is because a large part of where our mentality falters is when we start caring too much about our teammates and when we start relying too much on our teammates. And an easy way to just avoid this is literally to say that you went into a game where it's you and NPCs. You're the only human, which means if this was the case, you would never rely on the 4 other people. Hey, if one of the 4 other people does something good, for sure we're going to follow up on it, but you're not going to rely on them. You're not going to make a game plan around them. You're going to play a game to carry yourself. You're going to trust in only yourself, right? You can follow up on everything that they do. You can try to be there for them, but you're not going to put yourself at risk if you have to rely on one of the computers to actually do their job. And I promise you that if you knew that they were computers, you would play the game very differently. And also, if you're playing top lane and your bot lane is 0-4, hey, you can't do nothing about that. That's just unlucky. And you just gotta focus on your own lane, focus on your own role, focus on your own position and on your own game plan, so that you don't let your teammates' performance in the game or what they're communicating actually affect your mentality. You need to do everything in your power to keep your mentality as straight as possible so that you're always able to give the maximum performance that you can give. If you're always able to perform and you can always have a good performance, whether it's a losing game or a winning game or even game, every single game consistently, that's what matters. That's what's going to give you elo. That's what's going to get you places, right? So it's really, really, really important. Another aspect of this is if your teammates were robots, if they were NPCs, how would you tackle communication? Imagine one of your teammates starts flaming in the game. Does that affect you? I'm sure at one point or another, you did get affected by what someone said in your games. Even I got. I'll admit it. But the idea here is, if these were bots, if they were NPCs and the NPCs start flaming, well, you're not going to think anything about it. You're going to be like, well, someone really screwed up the coding there, right? It's just a bad line of code. So we're not going to care about it. Like, you can go into game and slash mute all if you want. Or you can leave the chat on and maybe they're going to say something useful like time a flash or something. And if they say something negative, if they start flaming, then just ignore it. They're just NPCs. They don't know what they're saying. They're just automatic codes, right? And also the communication we do. You are never going to make anybody better in your solo queue games by communicating with them. You're never going to be able to teach them the game. You're never going to be able to teach them any concepts. You're never going to be able to make any huge game plans with your teams and actually teach them anything. Yeah, they might follow your lead if you're doing good, but you're not going to be able to teach anybody anything. So the more time you spend actually writing and typing in your games instead of focusing on your play and focusing on the game plan, the more time you wasted and the more opportunity you give the enemy team to actually get a comeback. The only sort of communication that I recommend you do, you can talk a bit in champ select if there's some trades going on or whatever, but outside of that, mainly just stick to pings. You can time summoner spells and stuff like this in chat, but mainly stick to pings. And just imagine that whatever you write, the 4 computer bots are not going to even understand what you're saying. So there's no point to actually trying to write anything, right? Focus on pings, make yourself clear, true pings, back pings, danger pings, on my way pings, wordy pings, and just don't think about the other sorts of communication because honestly, I just think you're wasting your time and you could have had better focus without thinking about it. Another important part about the psychology is if you come to the point of actually getting negative emotions. Whatever happens, maybe you underperformed yourself, maybe you screwed something up, maybe something happened in your game that wasn't your fault, your internet DC'd or your computer had a Windows update or something, right? That might negatively affect you. And when you come back into your game, if you're negatively affected and you're in a negative state, that will affect your performance. And this is where something that is super important to be able to do is sort of go into a meditation state and just accepting your negative emotions, but not letting them take control. You're never going to be able to force your negative emotions away from you, but you can acknowledge them and just not let them take control over you. It's okay to have negative emotions, but you can separate the negative emotions from your performance. Because if they're intertwined, then they're going to negatively affect your performance, right? So in meditation, when you learn deep breathing and stuff like this, like a huge aspect of this is not letting your emotions take control and rather just acknowledging them and sort of being in a state where it's okay that they're there, but they're not taking control over you. So look into deep breathing and meditation. Some of the concepts are really good to have in mind. And once you get into certain situations in your game, you can actually apply them. Suddenly you can be on better thoughts, have a better mindset, have a better emotional field, then you're going to perform better. You should always, in every single game that you play, whether you're losing, winning, whether it's equal, doesn't matter, you should always strive for self-improvement. You can always improve. You can always get better. I don't care if you're top 10 challenger right now, or whether you're bronze 5 right now on 0LP, you can improve. And you need to have a mentality and you need to have a mindset where your goal is to improve. Where you want to improve, where you strive to improve, where you're thirsting to improve, you're starving to improve. Like whenever you play a game, there's always something you can improve at. There's always something you can learn. Even in the games where there's FF at 15 minutes, even if you're 4v5, even if you're 3v5, you can still learn something from that game. You can still improve at some of the concepts of the game. It's only up to how you actually tackle the situation, how you look at the game, what you're actually trying to achieve yourself. Setting goals, trying to achieve them no matter what. Working on your mentality, not letting your teammates get control over you and affect you. Having a good mindset the entire game. Being able to perform. There's always something you can do, inside or outside of the game. If we actively strive for self-improvement, it makes all the difference in the world. Like all the difference. If you want to become a good player, you want to get higher elo, hey, let's not even talk about League of Legends. Any game that you play, any sport that you do, self-improvement. Have a focus on it. Figure out what you need to improve at and work on it. Whether it's mentality, whether it's structure, whether it's in-game mechanics, whether it's game understanding and macro knowledge, whether it's, how your mentality gets affected by the situations of the game, whether it's your ability to mentally reset, a million different things. Work on self-improvement. Have it as an objective. That's the best tips I can give you, I think. That's it for Psychology of the Game. I hope you enjoyed.